Jasper and Zot. This is a sweeter game with a very unusual theme. It is the story of two wizards, a good wizard, that be you, and an evil wizard that is going to be the AI. These two wizards really enjoy growing vegetables. Each year they bring their vegetables to the county fair, and you, the good wizard, always win a ribbon because of your beautiful and tasty pumpkins, and that the wizard never wins anything. So he's very envious, and this year he has decided to sabotage your efforts. He's going to send zombies against your gardens. Some zombies, just regular zombies, and some will be flaming zombies. He's also going to roll some bombs down the hill against your garden just for extra measure. Zombies and pumpkins. This is weird enough. It gets weirder when you learn that among the things that you can use to defend your garden is a spell that allows you to turn zombies into flowers. How can anybody come up with such an idea? I do not know. What I know is how this idea has been translated in a game, and I'm going to tell a little bit about that today, about the gameplay aspect of the game, and I will let you wonder about the theme itself and how could anyone ever come up with such a theme. This is the board for the game, very cute, nice looking. This is the area where the fight will take place. The evil wizard is sending zombies and other stuff against you from there in this direction. The fence indicates the area within which you can use your spells. You can target things that are only in this area, not beyond that. This is you, indicated by that nice hat there. You're the good wizard that will be running right and left, casting spells in front of you. And here you have your precious pumpkins that you're trying to defend from the evil stuff that is sent against you. At the beginning of the game, the board will be clean, will be empty, but I thought it would be easier to explain how the game works with some stuff already there. Later in the game, there will be flowers on the board. I will explain later how they ended up there, and zombies that the an enemy sends against you. There may also be bombs that will be moving in your direction, but also positive modifiers that will double the points that you gain by executing certain actions. But let's just use the zombies for now to exemplify things. At the beginning of the turn, the first thing that you do is you move the counters belonging to the opponent against you. They move in their direction up to 2 areas. They try to move 2 areas, but they may move only 1 because they encounter obstacles. For example, the flowers will slow down the zombies. A zombie that moves adjacent to a flower area stops moving, even if it still has a movement point, an area that could potentially move. A zombie adjacent to flowers simply moves by 1 area to enter that area, and a zombie that's already starting in an area with flowers only moves 1 area just to exit that area. So actually these flowers can really delay the zombies by quite a bit. Who knew the zombies had such delicate soul that they enjoy the flowers, they stop to smell them, to put together nice looking bunches of flowers, whatever. I don't know what they do with these flowers, but these flowers really capture the zombies. Unless we're talking about firing zombies, and those zombies really do not care about the flowers. They do not have movement penalties, and they destroy the flowers that they touch. Let me show you an example of how this would work. During the descent phase, when you move the opponents, well, this guy would move by 2, he has no obstacles, this guy only by 1. This guy behind actually stopped by the zombie, so he also moves only 1. This one moves 1 just to enter that area. 2, 2, 2, and this guy moves like 1 and 2 and destroys those flowers there. And of course, they are trying to get adjacent to your pumpkins. If they do, at the end of the turn, they will get to smash the pumpkin that they are adjacent to. But after you move them, you spawn new ones. You look at these 2 tables. So in the game, you use this table here, and later in the game, the AI will use that one. You roll 2 dice and you choose which one indicates the type of formation that the opponent is using, and another one the position from which the enemies are arriving. I usually use the red die to indicate the formation, so we have an attack shaped like the symbol indicated by the number 4 that will enter the board from the area 3. You have to center the attack around the area. Then you look at the opaque container where you have put the bunch of bad news that come with the game, all the opponents and monsters and things, and you just draw them randomly and you place them where they are supposed to enter and in the formation that they are supposed to have. Here we go. That would satisfy a formation 4 entering from area 3. So first you move, then you add new bad guys that will move next turn, and then finally it is your turn to do something to react to all the madness that is going on here. Now you can move up to 3 spaces, right or left, and then you can cast a spell in the column right in front of you. And the 2 spells that you can cast. One will turn zombies into flowers. Oh, so cute. So for example, I could cast a spell there and I turn this guy into flowers. I do not need to replace that guy with another counter because there are already flowers there. So they're just thicker flowers, but it doesn't change much. Or I could move here and cast a spell there against that zombie, and that zombie will become a nice bunch of flowers on the ground. Nice. But then what is interesting is that these spells propagate to adjacent tokens as long as they are adjacent orthogonally. Diagonal does not count as adjacent, but in this case I cast that spell there, and then these are the 2 guys also, one after the other, are turned into flowers. First that guy, and that guy propagates the flower magic to that other guy. This is why in later phases of the game the opponent will switch from this table here to this one. That, as you can see, allows the opponent to place units on the board that are attached diagonally or that have holes in their formation, because small groups of scattered zombies are much harder to stop because it takes you an action, it takes you a spell for each small group, or sometimes for each individual unit that is just moving by itself, whereas when the opponents are moving tightly packed, then a single spell takes care of several of them. In fact, you have another type of spell on top of the one that is called Flower Power, the one that turns zombies into flowers. The other spell that you have is the one that allows you to set flowers on fire. You choose a flower that is in front of you, boom, you set that on fire, that is destroyed, but then the fire is so strong that it will actually also burn zombies. And in fact, that again propagates to adjacent tokens all orthogonally and destroys everything on its way. In this case, for example, the fire would propagate also to those zombies there. As you can see, wow, I cleaned up quite an area. After you have moved and shot with your spells, if there is a zombie adjacent to one of your pumpkins, then the zombie will destroy the pumpkins, and I guess we'll celebrate and be happy and be ready to smash more, unless you manage to stop him next turn or whenever, as soon as possible. And this is how it works. The bad guy will send minions against you. At the beginning of the game, it will be easy. Then after the bad guy smashes one of your pumpkins, or after you go through all of the tokens for one time, then the bad guy will switch to the other table. You put all the used tokens back in this cup and you start drawing again, and you have to defend against the second wave that this time will come following that different set of orders. If you survive until all of the tokens have been used, have entered the game, and you have destroyed them all, so basically if you survive 2 waves of enemy minions and you still have at least a pumpkin in play, then you win the game, and you count the points. You add the points that you total by destroying enemies, and you subtract 10 points for each pumpkin that you lost, and at that point you determine your level of victory. Gameplay wise, this game has a certain component of upkeeping, of certain mechanical aspect when you have to move all the things one after the other to create the movement. It gets a little mechanical. It just, I don't see any reason why the game couldn't be translated, for example, electronically in a video game version, and then you could play it and the computer takes care of doing that. It's not a huge thing, it's not a huge upkeeping, but you have to do it, and there is no strategy, no particular pleasure in just doing all that, moving the pieces on the board because the AI tells you to do so. I've read somebody online comparing this game to those video games in the 80s where you just have the starship that moves right and left and shoots at the enemies that are coming from above. Yes, this is the idea. This really feels like a video game, a simple video game brought to life in board game form. I usually am for the board game, for the physical game. I like the physicality of my games. I like rolling dice, pushing cardboard. I just like that aspect, but in this case, I think that the game would work equally well, and actually probably would work more smoothly. You could enjoy the game more if you didn't have to take care of other aspects of the game, of the upkeeping aspects. Other thing of the gameplay is fun in the second part when the game really becomes tense. And in a full game, in fact, I have this sense of the two parts of the game being a little disjointed. I mean, the first part is pretty simple when the evil wizard is sending packs of zombies close to one another. Then once you know the game, you can easily take care of that. Usually I go through all of the counters of the opponent the first time, destroying every enemy without losing a single pumpkin. Then the enemy switches to the other type of tactics, and at that point I usually end the game either by losing the game or by having one pumpkin that survives, so very close to lose the game. So hard is the second part, and it's completely different from the first one. And unless you're really just enjoying the warm-up or training yourself, the first part, at least to me, feels unnecessary. Now that I just usually go through it perfunctorily just to get to the second part, I don't have particular joy. I score points because of the things that I destroy, but I just want to get to the second part so much that I think that if I play the game again in the future, I will just play the second part. I will start from there. I will find a way to tweak the score system so that still it makes sense. It is not a design that make me scream, oh my gosh, this is the most incredible, the subtlest, the deepest design ever, but it is a design that again plays like a simple video game come to life, and definitely it is a design that is entertaining to play.